Alright, really quick, this is an idea I had recently. It goes something like this. The definition of God in many societies is a very vague one. For instance, you have people like pantheists who believe that the universe as a whole is God, and you have sun worshippers who believe that the sun is God. By these definitions, people who are generally held to be atheists by our society are actually theists because they believe in the God that these people worship, even though they might not be considered adherents because they don't worship that particular thing as a God. Then you have another problem in which many adherents to a single religion might actually describe the God that they believe in differently from an adherent of the same religion. My thought is that when there's so much confusion about one word, you have to, instead of using that word, you have to use other words that might actually be more specific to what is actually being talked about. Now, many of the gods people worship today are still human in many respects, because they tend to stem in most cases from Bronze Age polytheistic religions. Fortunately, because most of them come from a polytheistic ideology, many gods today, even if the religion has become monotheistic, actually retain some sort of proper name. In the case of Judeo-Christian theology, this name is either Yahweh or Jehovah, which is basically two names for the same thing, except it really just depends on the preferences of whoever's translating. Now, whenever talking about the Judeo-Christian God, if we were to use Yahweh or Jehovah, it would be not only be more specific, but it would also do other things.
When talking to a theist about religion, you'll often run into the theist saying, "Oh, that's not the God that I believe in, though." And because the definition of the word God is vague enough, they can usually do that. But if you use the proper name, it's much harder to do. Because then you can say, "No, according to the mythology that you believe in, the God Yahweh specifically did, or specifically said, this," and you can't dodge it. And if you're able to do it right, you should have a much stronger position in the debate you're having. Another possible benefit is that
referring to a god in such a way nowadays would be reminiscent of Zeus and Thor, which today are gods that very few people actually believe in. Referring to the Judeo-Christian God in the same way that we refer to the pagan gods will, in effect, give the appearance that the Judeo-Christian God is on the same level as those pagan gods that he was based off of. Out of the two names Jehovah and Yahweh, I actually prefer Yahweh a little more. I don't know why, it just sounds better to me. Now, using Yahweh when talking about the Judeo-Christian God, using the universe when talking about the pantheist God, or using the sun when talking about the sun worshippers God will also have another cool effect. You see, people have always, for many thousands of years now, believed in some sort of godlike entity, a great spirit, or just some sort of magic man. And since this ideology and others similar to it have been around for so long, it's left a huge mark on the cultures of the world and their languages. This is important for a certain reason. You'll oftentimes see a theist make the argument that, oh, well, atheists, or people who don't believe in God, seem to be talking about him a lot. They make this argument completely ignoring the fact that after so many thousands of years of those aspects influencing culture and language, that it's really unavoidable. This is something that you can tell a theist whenever they make that argument, but it's not going to sink in. So, by using a term such as Yahweh or Jehovah, the proper name of the Judeo-Christian God, in the place of the actual word God, will essentially, for the most part, remove God from
common day speech for atheists.
So here's a final thought. We call the Greek gods Zeus, Apollo, Poseidon, Artemis, Aphrodite, etc. We call the Norse gods Thor, Odin, Loki, etc. We call the Muslim god Allah. The gods of each of these religions are referred to by their proper name, so why are we making an exception for Yahweh? I'm going to end this with a little example just to hopefully open you guys up to the idea. The Bible says in many parts that the scent of a particular carcass of a burning sacrificial animal was pleasing, quote, pleasing to the Lord. Now imagine it this way. If it instead said it was pleasing to Yahweh, suddenly that religion seems to be more in touch with its Bronze Age origins, doesn't it? Let me know what you guys think of this idea. Give me your thoughts, any suggestions, any ways I could possibly expand upon it, because I think it's an interesting concept. And remember, if you really like this idea, be sure to spread this video around.